In the late 18th century, there was an era of revolution in the Americas. In 1776, the 13 British colonies declared their independence and formed the country of the United States of America. 45 years later, in 1821, the Spanish colony of New Spain also gained their independence and they formed the country of Mexico. During its independence, Mexico was one of the largest countries in the world, but it lost almost one-third of its land to the United States just 2 decades later. So hello, welcome to Social Knowledge. I'm Daipayan, and in today's video, the Mexican-American War. After the US gained its independence, it had a proper plan for its future. It worked towards developing the economy, it welcomed many immigrants and started to expand westwards. The US also purchased the massive Louisiana province from the French in 1803 and it doubled its size. But if you look at Mexico, the country after gaining its independence from Spain in 1821, it was in total chaos. The revolutionaries did not have a proper plan for the future. No plans or guidelines were established. There were internal divisions within the revolutionaries and separate factions fought with each other for control of the country. Between 1821 to 1846, Mexico had at least 4 governments. They repeatedly changed their presidencies, government officials and government agencies. There were no proper guidelines set up by the revolutionaries what type of constitution they are going to follow. The nation was one of the largest at the time, comprising an area of about 1.8 million square miles. It covered most of present-day Central America and present-day US states of California, New Mexico, Texas, Utah, Nevada, and Arizona. But the Mexican government lacked the funds for controlling such a massive area, and the government was bankrupt after its decade-long war against Spain for independence. The new nation also had fears of an invasion by Spain, which sought to reconquer its former colony from its base in Cuba. But Mexico was able to keep its independence after it defeated the Spanish at the Battle of Tampico in 1829. In this battle, the Mexican general Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna would become a national hero. He was a controversial figure in all of Mexican history. But upon this victory, he gained much popularity and ultimately he went on to become the president of Mexico. The northern parts of the country was sparsely populated and the Mexican government encouraged people to settle in these lands. But the local Mexican people were just too hesitant to go to these lands. So Mexico encouraged immigration from other countries and people from the US flocked to these lands. Many US citizens came and settled in these lands, especially in Texas. These US settlers in turn brought more people and most of them were illegal immigrants. So it was a problem for the Mexican government. So the Mexican government expected that these people would work on these lands so that it would help to develop the Mexican economy. But these US immigrants were more loyal towards the US government and to the government of Mexico. So by 1829, the local Mexican population was overshadowed by the US settlers in Texas. There were 10 times more US people than the Mexicans in Texas, out of which most of them were illegal immigrants. So in order to stop this huge influx of illegal immigrants from the US, the Mexican government banned slavery in 1829 because the US settlers were bringing in slaves with them. And the Mexican government also had to send few troops to remind these US settlers that they are working in Mexican lands and not in US. The tensions began to rise between these US settlers and Mexican government. Another major factor was that the US settlers were accustomed to a federal type of government and they enjoyed considerable individual rights, including owning of slaves. But upon Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna becoming the president of Mexico, he transformed the country into a centralized one and he curtailed much rights of these US settlers. These rising tensions eventually turned into a revolution. The US settlers defeated the Mexican army at the Battle of San Jacinto in 1836. And these US settlers established their own country, which is known as the Republic of Texas, in March 1836. The loss of Texas and later the failure in the Pastry War against the French, it made Santa Anna to go into exile to Cuba. Mexico, despite being defeated, refused to recognize independence of Texas and still considered it as a rebellious state of Mexico. Texas wanted to join the US, but its offer of joining the US was rejected twice by the US government because the US did not want to include a new slave state. And also Mexico warned the US that it do not try to annex Texas or it would mean war. In March 1845, after the election of James K. Polk as the 11th president of the US started to plan for its annexation of Texas. Texas was incorporated into the US in December 1845 as the 28th state. Polk was an ambitious man. He believed in the Manifest Destiny. Manifest Destiny is an idea that the US believes that the country must stretch from coast to coast, that is, from the Pacific to the Atlantic. Polk had the desire to capture the Mexican territories of California and Santa Fe de Nuevo Mexico. So in November 1845, Polk sent Senator John Slidell to Mexico. He offered the Mexican government $30 million in exchange for these lands, but it was refused by the Mexican government. So President Polk devised a plan in order to take the northern part of Mexico by means of war. When the Republic of Texas was formed in 1836, the Rio Grande River was decided as its border. But Mexico argued that the Nueces River, which was 250 miles north of the Rio Grande, was actually the border between Mexico and Texas. So after Texas was incorporated to the US also inherited this border dispute, which was between Texas and Mexico earlier. Now it has become a border dispute between Mexico and the US. President Polk moved his troops to the disputed territory in April 1846 in order to provoke the Mexicans. So what happened was, in April 25, 1846, a small US patrolling force of around 80 men were ambushed by a Mexican force of around 1,600. 11 US soldiers were killed and the rest were captured. This incident marked the beginning of the Mexican-American War. When news of this attack reached Polk, he got the opportunity he was looking for. He got the reason to declare war on Mexico. He went to the Congress and said Mexico had invaded our land and shed American blood on American soil. So the US Army under General Zachary Taylor received reinforcements and moved towards the Rio Grande. Taylor built a temporary fort in the region known as Fort Texas. On May 8, 1846, the Mexican army attacked the fort. Even though the Mexicans outnumbered the US, they were much lesser trained and were equipped with outdated weapons, whereas the US soldiers were much better trained, and were technically advanced. They brought in a new type of artillery called the flying artillery, which was drawn by a horse. The Mexicans were not accustomed to this type of artillery, so the ensuing Battle of Palo Alto was a devastating defeat for the Mexicans. The battle also continued the next day, 130 miles north at Resaca de la Palma. Here too the Mexicans were defeated, even though they were numerically superior. These two battles were fought even before the US had formally declared war on Mexico. The declaration from the US came on May 13, 1846. And Mexico did not declare war for almost 2 months, but its own declaration came only on July 7, 1846. Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna came out of his exile and he became the commander-in-chief of the Mexican army. He was considered as the only hope who could defeat the US. On the Western Front, President Polk sent General Kearny to capture Santa Fe and California. The Mexican forces in Santa Fe withdrew without a fight, and Kearny captured Santa Fe without a shot being fired. California too was occupied by Jan 1847, even though the US faced a stiff resistance at the Battle of San Pascual in December 1846. In the Rio Grande, General Zachary Taylor crossed the river and won a hard-fought battle at Buena Vista, where the Mexican army was commanded by Santa Anna. Even after several defeats, the Mexican government refused to back down and negotiate. So now James K. Polk decided that the only way to bring the Mexican government to the negotiating table is to invade the Mexican heartland itself. He sent General Winfield Scott via sea in order to invade Mexico. Scott and his US troops landed at the port city of Veracruz in March 1847. After the Mexicans were defeated at Veracruz, the US troops marched towards the capital of Mexico, Mexico City. The US army defeated the Mexicans at Cerro Gordo, Contreras, and Churubusco before reaching Mexico City. And Mexico City was captured in September 1847, and the Mexican army surrendered, bringing an end to the Mexican-American War. After months of negotiations, a Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed on February 2, 1848. The US paid Mexico $15 million, half of what was offered before the war. And the Rio Grande River was recognized as the border between the US and the country of Mexico. Mexico ceded all of its northern lands to the US, which forms the present-day states of California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and also parts of Kansas and Colorado. Mexico lost almost 500,000 square miles of land, which was almost one-third of its original size during its independence in 1821. And the dream of President James K. Polk, that the US must stretch from the Atlantic to the Pacific, has now become a reality. So this is how Mexico lost its land to the US. So thank you guys for watching this video, and please like, share and subscribe this channel. Thank you very much.